Hi everybody, it's Denise again with my Scrappy Place, and we're back for another video. This evening we are going to be talking about a couple things out of the new catalog. So let's go ahead and get started. One of the things that came in our new holiday catalog this month was a new stamp set. It's a background stamp, and I love background stamps because you can make your own background paper. You don't have to buy a lot of pattern paper if you don't want to spend a whole lot of money. So what came out this last month was a new stamp called, let me find it in here, the Buffalo Check. Now this is a big stamp. This is a background stamp, and it makes really cool things such as these tags. Looks like flannel shirts. Saying there by my thumb. Anyway, so I couldn't wait to get it, and when I got it, I started having problems with it. Now normally I would just call Stampin' Up and say, hey, I have a problem with my stamp, but I was kind of stubborn, and I figured I had to be doing something wrong. I figured it was me, and I found out that other people might be having the same issues as well. What was happening was when I was stamping with it, I wasn't getting a good crisp design on my paper. So what I found out I had to do, first of all, it comes like this. This is the case that it comes in. Okay, this is the Buffalo Check, and it comes like this. You see how it's floppy? Well, all you do is you take a really big block. This is our, what size? This is our F block. This is the biggest block that we have, and you just lay it down on here. Okay, so when I have something this big, I put it on the big block, and then I take my ink and I put the ink on here. Well, what was happening was I would ink it up, I'd lay my paper on it, I wouldn't get a crisp design. For some reason, my stamp had like a film or something on it. So what I did, rather than, call Stamping Up, ship it back, and have them ship you another one, because that's totally what they would have done, I took something that I used to use in school, and it's one of these pink pearl erasers. Now, I don't endorse this, Paper Mate, whatever, but I took and I rubbed it over this really good, and then I cleaned it off so that it didn't have eraser gunk on it, and I'm getting pretty good results out of that. So if you start having problems with your blocks not getting a good impression, try running a big eraser over it, and that should fix the problem. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'm going to show you how you can make your own printed paper using this stamp set, a piece of cardstock, and go from there. Now what I'm using first is my Memento ink. I like this ink. This is what we sell. You can use any kind of ink that you have, but this is what I happen to prefer. So like I said, when I have a big stamp like this, instead of trying to take my stamp, putting my paper down, inking it up, and trying to do this number, which is hard to line up, I lay my stamp down. I get my ink, and I ink everything up. And I apologize right now if the camera is shaking, because my camera's on my table, and my son, I have a feeling, is lurking out in the hallway. He may stick his head in here. I don't know. But I'm going to make sure I get my stamp inked up really, really good. Okay, and that looks pretty good to me. Then I'm going to take my cardstock, and this is a piece of real red cardstock, and it's just cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4, I believe, and I'm going to lay it down right here, and I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper and lay on top of this, and I'm going to give it a good rub. And again, the camera is going to shake, and I do apologize because, like I said, my camera is set up on my table. So if you get a little seasick, I apologize. I'm just going to rub real good, like this. Peel off my scrap piece of paper. And there's my printed piece. And it does, it doesn't make a super crisp, clean, and it's not really supposed to. It's supposed to look like old flannel. So there we go. printed paper I made all by myself. Cool. So what am I going to do with that? Well, of course, I'm going to make a card. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this aside because from the magic of television, I already have one done. And I took that piece of paper that I made earlier. I just mounted it on the back or on the front side of a black. I have a mat. The black is, oh, you know what? I told you that was the wrong size. This is 5 inches by 3 1/4. 3 3/4. 5 by 3 3/4. I'll get it together sooner or later. This is 5 1/4 by 4. Good deal. I'm going to take, and I have my basic card base. You see right here, I got a little smudge of ink on it, but that's okay because I'm going to cover it up. I am going to take my glue, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this. And we're going to stick it to the front. Today was a good day for making cards. My friend came over. Arlene is my bestie, and we worked on her project for her church ladies. And now I'm back to card making now. So I'm just going to stick this on my card base just like this. Even it up so it looks good. Now I've taken a strip of black cardstock that is the same width as my piece, so that is going to be at 5. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put some glue on it, stick it down. Right in the middle, right about like that. Make sure it's nice and even. My video is kind of lagging, so I don't know what this is going to look like in the finished project. I don't know what the issue is with that. So if it's kind of skippy, I apologize. But I'm lagging for some reason tonight. Maybe because I'm tired. Then I took another stamp set that unfortunately this was only available during the month of August. So if you were able to get this, lucky you. It's not available anymore. So if you have it, this is what I used. If you didn't, you can use something else. But I took this stamp set, Blended Season. I used the Holly Berries and I used the Merry Christmas Saying. And what I did was I stamped it on a shape that I had cut out using a set of framelits that was part of this bundle that unfortunately is not available anymore. But if you have it, you could use it. Isn't that pretty? And what I did was I cut 2 of these. So there's 1 and there's 2. Now, if you lay them on top of them, they're the same size, right? Okay, but if you notice on this one, there's a little bit of a border. So how did I do that? Very, very easily. I just took my paper snips and I cut the black one in half. Ish, not straight, not perfect. Put a little bit of glue on here and stuck it on there like that. Voila. And the same thing on this side. And you've got your little border. Very easy. Then, after I stamped it, then I colored it with our Stampin' Blends. And if you're not familiar with those, they are alcohol-based markers, kind of like other ones on the market that can blend really nicely. Let me zoom in and see if you can see this a little bit better. There we go. Can you see how it's shaded? You're not going to get this with regular markers, but with our markers, we have a light shade. Sorry, it's got my logo all over it. We used these at a stamp event not too long ago, and we wanted to make sure we got them back. And then we have a darker shade. So I just colored the leaves and blended them out. Then I added the berries with the darker red. This is actually cherry cobbler. And then I added a little bit of bling because if anybody that knows me knows I like bling. So after I got that colored, and I'm sorry, but I'm not going to color it right now on the screen because it takes a little while, and I already have one done. I'm just going to put this together. I'm going to get my dimensionals, Stick them on the back. And you know me, I use a lot of dimensionals because I don't want it smushing down. So let's put all these here. And peel them off the back. Take my card, lay it down to where it's pretty well centered. There we go. One very easy, simple card using the new Buffalo Check stamp set. Made my own background card, and you could use this on anything. Like I said, this is simply a red piece of paper with the black marker. You could take any of our pieces, our colors of paper, and coordinate them with whatever color you want and make your own gingham. Totally cool, totally easy. Not much to it. So don't forget, make sure that you hit the subscribe button right down here. I'll put a link to my store where you can get at least the Buffalo Check stamp set. Like I said, unfortunately, these aren't available anymore. It was only a special in August. So anyway, thanks so much for taking the time to come and see me today. Have a good one.